20 years after the Clean Air Act was signed into law, air pollution remains one of the biggest challenges faced by our country. A group says we are losing trillions of pesos every year because of this. Tonight, we have Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, Red Constantino, for more on this concern. Red, thank you so much for joining us. According to a report, the Philippines is losing $87 billion each year due to poor air quality. What kind of an impact are these losses having on our economic growth?
That impact is nothing short of massive, Rico. $87 billion annually, or 4.5 trillion, is about 23% of our GDP. And that impact reminds not only the public, but our policymakers as well, that air pollution is not something you can shrug off or brush off. It has a cost, it's expensive, and it's bleeding our economy dry because of things that we can fix, but we haven't really over 2 decades. That has to change dramatically because the steps that we can take to fix the situation are doable, but we need to start acting soon.
Right.
Because economic cost is heavy.
So this is really bleeding our economy dry, and the government has made a commitment, Red, to cut carbon emissions by 75% in 2030. The Philippine Movement for Climate Justice says it is a low target compared with other nations. Do you agree?
The number that was touted by government of 75%, that's not actually low. It's actually quite high. The problem here, and I think that's what the Philippine Movement for Climate Justice is also saying, is that so far, after releasing the 75% reduction pledge, we have not seen a substantiation of what this is made of. Currently, over 90%, way over 90% of that pledge does not have anything that commits the government to actually act. Everything else is conditional based on what climate finance or aid comes from abroad. That is not going to work because air pollution does not require aid from abroad, because this is something that we need to be taking care of on our own because, as I said earlier, the report that we have released, it shows very clearly that our economy is bleeding. We don't need overseas finance to fix such problems when the public itself is also hurting from this.
And
if you're not a smoker, Rico,
Yeah.
it's like you're smoking 1 cigarette per day for 365 days in a year. That's crazy.
That is crazy because I'm not a smoker myself. And
Yes.
that is not good for all our kababayans right now.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at the 2-week meeting that is ending today in Glasgow. Commitments have been made by world leaders at that 26th UN Climate Change Conference. Are you satisfied with the commitments of the polluting nations?
Right now, they're hemming and hawing. They are dithering. They're trying to dilute whatever action that they need to be taking because they are accountable as historically responsible for the climate crisis. We are in the end games right now. This is Friday, opening in Glasgow around the morning. And I expect, as many do, that the negotiations will drag on for 24 hours, if not 48 hours further, because text is being negotiated. Certain parts there, like the phase out of coal, is being diluted as we speak, and they're still not. They're still pulling their punches in terms of what developing countries like the Philippines expects, which is a pledge of $100 billion a year over the next 5 years and escalating thereafter. So $500 billion. They committed this in 2009. They promised the first delivery will be in 2020, last year, and they haven't coughed up anything yet.
Yeah.
And so this is not good for trust.
Red Constantino, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word.